In today's original episode, we talk about not one, but many monster movies and series. After the success of Godzilla vs. Kong, the genre has reached a new peak, which is why we are happy to introduce you to all the comparable projects that will be coming in the next few years. Among those are Godzilla vs. Kong 2, a Cloverfield sequel, the A Quiet Place franchise, and many more. Have fun watching! This year, the sequel Meg 2 will hit theaters. The previous film, starring action star Jason Statham, won over many fans and was also a huge financial success. Shooting for the new movie with the gigantic prehistoric shark started in February 2022 and was concluded in the same year. We will only see a small number of actors from the first part again, including Jason Statham as Jonas Taylor and Cliff Curtis, who embodies James McCridus, aka Mac. Behind the scenes, an important crew change took place. John Turteltaub will no longer be in charge of directing, leaving the British high-rise director Ben Wheatley to take over instead. In terms of story, not only will the great Megalodon give the characters involved a rough time, but the no less terrifying Chronosaurus will also make an appearance. The lack of an R rating was one of the first part's points of criticism, but this could actually change in the sequel if it goes according to book author Steve Alton, so you might be in for a darker and even more brutal experience. We are excited about Meg 2: The Trench and look forward to the theatrical release on August 4th, 2023. So far, the cooperation between Warner Bros. And Legendary has resulted in 3 films with Godzilla, most recently in a blockbuster in which he initially battled against, and later with King Kong. For movie fanatics, however, it is obvious that a true Godzilla movie must be made by the Japanese production studio Toho. Founded in 1932, the company is responsible for the very first Godzilla film from 1954 and properly popularized the radioactive giant lizard in the Western world. Toho's last project was the very successful Shin Godzilla from 2016, which is why many fans are already eagerly awaiting the next installment, which is scheduled for release in 2023. While it is not known to what extent the film will tie in with its predecessor, the excitement is evident among many. Still, we will have to wait until the Japanese Godzilla Day on November 3rd, 2023, as the Japanese theatrical release is not slated before then. A Quiet Place was a true surprise hit in 2018. The horror flick from director and lead actor John Krasinski revolves around monsters that react to the slightest noise, with most deadly consequences. After the sequel already hit theaters in the summer of 2021, 2 more projects are now in the works. The first will be a spin-off, A Quiet Place Day 1, a prequel that will probably deal with the arrival of the aliens on Earth. Krasinski himself is only involved as a producer, with Michael Sarnowski taking over as director. Sarnowski was able to make a name for himself a while back, thanks to the success of Pig with Nicolas Cage. A Quiet Place Day 1 has been announced for March 8, 2024, and the official Part 3 is scheduled for release in 2025, though further details are not yet known. In 2024, we can expect another sequel to a popular monster franchise. A 4th film in the Cloverfield series is to be released on an as-yet unknown date. The official title is not known either, but J.J. Abrams will once again be the producer, as he was for the previous films. As it became known in 2021, the movie's story will not connect to the 3rd movie, but to the first one from 2008. What exactly this means is something the people in charge have not yet disclosed, but it can be assumed that the found footage style of the first part will not be maintained. Since the end of last year, we also know that the acclaimed Under the Shadow director Babak Anvari will be in charge of directing. The main goal of the producers, including the Batman director Matt Reeves, is probably to build on the success of the first part. 10 Cloverfield Lane and the Cloverfield Paradox were also well received by some, yet failed to match the original in many respects. We are definitely looking forward to the still untitled Cloverfield film. So far, an exact release date has not been set, but many consider it realistic that it will be out next year. At some point in the coming years, Guillermo del Toro is expected to direct one of his passion projects, At the Mountains of Madness. The original story is by H.P. Lovecraft, one of the most famous authors of the 20th century in the genre of horror and fantasy. Del Toro has been trying for many years to create a worthy adaptation, and his first effort started back in 2006. After many failed attempts, he is now working with Netflix to make it happen, but it is still uncertain as to when this will take place. On November 10th, 2022, we were able to see a first draft showing a tentacle monster in front of a snowy scenery. Although this is merely test material from back then, the cult director still seems to be on fire for his movie adaptation. We will update you as soon as there is any news on the project. Next year, it is time for the sequel to 2021's Godzilla vs. Kong, a movie that was a smash hit during the pandemic and is now getting a visually stunning sequel. There's already a bit of information. Footage from the shooting on Australia's Gold Coast, for example, has surfaced, showing dozens of extras fleeing from a monster coming out of the water. In addition, the former enemies Godzilla and Kong are to fight together against greater dangers from now on, as could already be seen from the battle against Mechagodzilla. It can be assumed that they will delve much deeper into the world of the Titans. Exactly which adversary there will be remains unclear, but it will most likely be bigger and stronger than Mechagodzilla. We are excited to see what returning director Adam Wingard has in store for us, and look forward to the release, which is set for March 15th, 2024. Back in 2011, a movie based on the popular comic book series Monster Hunter Survival Guide was being planned. Over 10 years ago, the idea was to cast Dwayne Johnson in the starring role as the Monster Hunter. In terms of plot, John Paul Russ's miniseries is about a comprehensive guide on how to hunt creatures like werewolves and vampires. It is rumored that the project could be released in the coming years, but there's no more detailed information. It is unclear whether Dwayne Johnson will continue to be a part of the planning. After his forced departure from a Black Adam sequel, however, he surely has some spare time for new movie adaptations. Earlier this month, Warner Bros. Signed composer Michael Giacchino to direct the remake of a cult film. The movie in question is Them, a black and white horror movie from 1954 that was the first of its kind to focus on enormous insects. More specifically, it is about a giant ant nest which spreads fear and terror and kills people. The cause of the mutations is said to be nuclear weapons testing, which was a popular theme in 1950s monster movies. Giacchino has only directed 3 movies to date. However, he can proudly present an even larger list of film, series, and video game music. But will that be helpful for the atmosphere of the classic remake? It's also in question whether the movie will actually be an exact remake of the admittedly outdated original, or if they may take more liberties. The script about the giant ants is currently still being written. We will make sure to keep you up to date in our weekly news. A monster series is also currently in post-production, but it is still unclear when it will be released. We're talking about Skull Island, a series about castaways who try to escape from the mysterious island and home of King Kong. In doing so, not only does the giant ape get in their way, but so do other prehistoric titans. A first image was already published at the beginning of June 2022. It shows a gigantic footprint of King Kong and 2 comparatively tiny humans in the middle of it. Powerhouse Animation Studios, which has already produced series like Castlevania or Blood of Zeus, is behind the production. We are curious to see if and how Skull Island can ultimately add to the live-action films, and look forward to the still undisclosed release date. Some time ago, Apple TV Plus acquired the rights to a series called Godzilla and the Titans. The project, by Star Trek Enterprise writer Chris Black and comic book author Matt Fraction, is set in the time after Godzilla and the Titans have razed San Francisco to the ground and made everyone aware that monsters are obviously real. The storyline revolves around a family that sets out to find the origin of it all, and also comes across the secret organization known as Monarch. There are already some actors known to be involved, including Fast and Furious 9 actress Anna Sawai, Justice League actress Kiersey Clements, as well as The Thing actor Kurt Russell and his son Wyatt Russell, who plays in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. There is no set release date yet, but filming for the series is said to have been completed, so it should only be a matter of time before we get to see the monsters in action. This was our original about the most interesting monster movies and series of the coming years. Which monster projects are you looking forward to the most? And are there any you are missing from our list? Feel free to leave us a comment, and don't forget to share the video with your friends. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.